Now, Santaco in the Western Cape has until 12 noon on Friday to reach an agreement with the City of Cape Town and the Provincial Mobility Department. If it fails to do so, the Western Cape High Court will make an order regarding an urgent application brought before the court to interdict the city from impounding minibus taxis. In fact, the taxi union is accusing Cape Town municipality of adding a condition outside of the agreement which saw an end to the strike, which allows it to impound vehicles. It says this condition has since been used to take vehicles off the road. A task team set to find common ground between the parties is continuing to deliberate. eNCA's Nobesuthu Hejana has more.
Santaco in the Western Cape is accusing the City of Cape Town of disregarding the terms of their joint agreement by impounding vehicles at the weekend. The Taxi Council says its agreement with the city on the 10th of August specified vehicles could only be impounded if they had no operating license in place, if the driver did not have a license or a professional driving permit, or if the vehicle was unroadworthy.
There's a principle at play. The principle is that if you put your hand to paper and you make an agreement, you stick to that agreement. If you don't stick to that agreement, you repudiate that agreement by your actions.
Since the 11th of August, 14 vehicles have been impounded. The High Court's Judge Derek Villy argued that Santaco could at best prove 2 vehicles were impounded outside the agreements. The city submitted to court that Santaco filed its application before proving the vehicles were impounded outside their deal.
And the whole idea of the agreement is premised on the notion that if the applicant is dissatisfied with a particular impoundment, they would take the impoundment notice, present it to the city, and the city would investigate and release if it was found to be appropriate. Now, there's not a word on the papers that the applicant has indeed presented any impoundment notice to the city at all.
The Mobility Department argued that Santaco has no case and the matter should be struck off the court roll as the vehicles allegedly impounded for reasons outside the agreement or presented with offences that are impoundable based on the National Land Transport Act, but commuters and drivers have mixed emotions about the current dispute.
My vehicle was impounded because of a permit. I don't have a permit, and then I did apply for the permit. And then the government of the Western Cape doesn't want to give us the permits.
I don't normally use taxis. I would rather prefer Uber and buses as it's safer and it's more convenient. But if the buses would drive like every 20 minutes, I think everybody would take it as a public transport. But taxis is a no for me.
They will work it out eventually because the taxis do play a big role in the community, especially local community, so they need to find a way to come to an agreement.
The National Transport Department withdrew as the 4th opposing responded through an affidavit submitted before the court proceedings. An order is due from the court on Friday. Nobesuthu Hejana, Cape Town.